The warning lights on the bridge flashed red as Captain Lee Jun stared at the massive ship floating in the darkness ahead. It was bigger than 3 human vessels put together, its black hull torn open in several places. Strange symbols covered its surface, symbols that made every crew member feel uneasy.
Captain,
"We're getting no response from the vessel," said Communications Officer Song Yu, her fingers moving quickly over her control panel. "It's been drifting here for weeks, based on the energy readings." Lee Jun walked closer to the main screen. The alien ship looked like it had been through a terrible battle. Parts of it were completely destroyed, and he could see into the dark corridors inside through the holes in the hull. "Do we know what kind of ship this is?" he asked. Dr. Park Hannah, the ship's expert on alien life, stood up from her station. Face was pale as she looked at the readings on her tablet. "Captain, those symbols. They matched the database records for Caliph vessels." The bridge went completely silent. Everyone knew about the Caliph. They were the monsters that parents used to scare children across the galaxy. The Caliph hunted other thinking beings for fun. It took prisoners and tortured them for sport. Every species in the galaxy feared them. "Are you sure?" Lee Jun asked, though he already knew the answer from the look on Dr. Park's face. "Ship design matches exactly. It's definitely a Kelith hunting vessel," she said quietly. Security Chief Kim Woo stepped forward. He was a big man with scars on his face from old battles. "Captain, we should leave immediately. If there are any Kelith still alive on that ship, they will kill us all." Lee Jun studied the damaged vessel again. Something about it bothered him. "Look at the damage patterns. Those aren't battle scars from fighting back. Someone attacked this ship while it was trying to run away." Engineer Yunde checked his instruments. "The captain is right. The engines were hit first, then the weapon systems. This ship was hunted down and destroyed." "Good," Kim Woo said firmly. "The galaxy is safer without them." But Dr. Park Hannah was still studying her readings. "Captain, I'm detecting very faint life signs. Something is still alive over there." The bridge went silent again. Everyone looked at Captain Lee Jun, waiting for his decision. He had been commanding this exploration vessel for 5 years, and his crew trusted him completely. But this was different. This was about the most dangerous species in the galaxy. "How faint?" he asked, very weak. "Whatever it is, it won't survive." "Much longer without help," Dr. Park replied. Kim Woo shook his head. "Captain, we cannot board that ship. It's too dangerous. Even one Kelith could kill half our crew." "But what if it's not a warrior?" Dr. Park said. "What if it's just a survivor who needs help?" "The Kelith don't have innocent survivors," Kim Woo replied angrily. "They are all killers, every single one of them." Lee Jun looked at his crew. They were all good people who had signed up to explore the galaxy and help other species. But the Kelith were different. They had destroyed entire planets just for entertainment. "Song Yu, contact the Galactic Council. Tell them what we found," he ordered. The communications officer worked quickly, sending their report across the galaxy. The answer came back within an hour. Ambassador Choibin read the message out loud to the crew. "The Galactic Council has declared the Kelith species extinct as of 3 days ago. The last of their warrior fleets was destroyed by the combined forces of 12 species. Any remaining Kelith are to be left to die. No species is permitted to offer aid or assistance. This is final." Dr. Park Hannah stood up quickly. "They can't mean that. If there's someone alive over there who needs help, we have to try." The council has spoken, Kim Woo said. We follow orders. But Captain Lee Jun was still staring at the damaged ship. He thought about all the stories he had heard about the Kelith. They were terrible stories of pain and death. But he also thought about what his grandfather had taught him, that every life had value, even the lives of enemies. Yoon-dae, can you scan deeper into that ship? Want to know exactly what we're dealing with? The engineer worked for several minutes, using every scanner they had. Finally, he looked up with a strange expression on his face. Captain, the life signs are coming from what looks like a nursery section. The readings suggest it's very small. Maybe the size of a human child? A child? Dr. Park gasped. That's impossible, Kim Woo said. The Kelith don't have children like other species. They grow their warriors in labs. But Yoon-dae was checking his readings again. I'm sure of it. It's definitely very young and it's dying. The life support in that section is failing. Dr. Park Hannah looked directly at Captain Lee Jun. Captain, we took an oath to help any living being in distress. That includes children, even Kelith children. It's not a child, Kim Woo argued. It's a monster that will grow up to kill thousands of innocent people. We don't know that, Dr. Park replied. Maybe it could be different if it grows up away from their warrior culture. Captain Lee Jun felt the weight of the decision on his shoulders. The Galactic Council had given clear orders. Every species in the galaxy wanted the Kelith extinct. If he helped this creature, he would be going against the wishes of billions of beings. But he also knew that leaving a dying child to suffer went against everything he believed in. Prepare a boarding party, he finally said. We're going to investigate. Kim Woo stepped forward. Captain, I strongly advise against this action. Your objection is noted, Lee Jun replied. But I need to see this creature with my own eyes before I make my final decision. Dr. Park Hannah grabbed her medical kit. I'll come with you, Swill. I said, Yoon-dae, you might need an engineer. Kim Woo sighed heavily. If you're going, then I'm going too. Someone needs to protect you from your own kindness. 30 minutes later, the boarding party was ready. They wore full environmental suits and carried weapons, just in case. As they approached the damaged Kelith vessel, Captain Lee Jun wondered if he was making the biggest mistake of his life. The airlock opened with a hiss, and they stepped into the darkness of the enemy ship. Whatever they found inside would change everything. The inside of the Kelith ship was cold and dark. Captain Lee Jun led his team through twisted corridors filled with floating debris. Their helmet lights cut through the darkness, showing walls covered in strange alien writing and claw marks. The air is toxic, Dr. Park Hannah reported, checking her scanner. Good thing we have our suits on. They passed several rooms filled with terrible things, weapons designed to cause pain, cells that had once held prisoners, and strange devices that Kim Woo refused to explain to the others. The security chief had seen similar items before during his military service. This ship is exactly what we expected, Kim Woo said quietly. A torture vessel designed for hunting innocent people, but Captain Lee Jun noticed something else. At these blast marks, they're all pointing inward. Someone was fighting to get deeper into the ship, not to escape from it. Engineer Yoon-dae stopped at a damaged control panel. The attackers knew exactly where to hit. They disabled the engines first, then the weapons, then the life support. This was planned. They moved deeper into the ship, following the weak life signs that Dr. Park was tracking. The nursery section was in the center of the vessel, protected by thick walls and multiple security doors. All of the doors had been forced open from the outside. Someone really wanted to get in here, Yoon-dae observed. When they finally reached the nursery, they all stopped in shock. The room was completely different from the rest of the ship. Instead of weapons and torture devices, it was filled with soft materials and colorful objects. Small beds lined the walls, and gentle music was still playing from hidden speakers. It's actually a nursery, Dr. Park whispered. A real nursery for children. Most of the small beds were empty, but in the corner, they found what they were looking for. A small creature lay curled up in the largest bed, barely breathing. It was about the size of a human 6-year-old, with dark fur and large eyes that were closed in sleep. Is that really a Kelith? Yoon-dae asked. Dr. Park approached carefully, her medical scanner in hand. The DNA matches, but it's so young. Look at its face. It looks almost peaceful. The creature was clearly dying. Its breathing was shallow, and its small body was covered in injuries. Someone had attacked this nursery and hurt the children inside. Where are the others? Captain Lee Jun asked. Kim Woo was examining the empty beds. Based on the blood patterns, they were taken. This little one was left behind because it was too injured to move. Dr. Park knelt beside the small Kelith. Its injuries are serious but not fatal. With proper medical care, it could survive. We should leave it here, Kim, Woo said firmly. The Galactic Council was clear about their orders. It's just a child, Dr. Park argued. Look at it. How can we leave a dying child to suffer? Captain Lee Jun studied the small creature. It didn't look like the terrible monsters from the stories. It looked like a frightened, hurt child who needed help. Captain Kim Woo said, I know what you're thinking, but remember what the Kelith have done. They destroyed the peaceful colonies on Havern 7. They tortured entire families for entertainment. This creature will grow up to be just like them, will it? Dr. Park asked. What if it grows up with us instead? What if it learns kindness instead of cruelty? Yunde was looking around the nursery. This room doesn't match the rest of the ship. Look at these toys and books. Someone cared about these children. As they talked, the small Kelith opened its eyes. They were large and dark, filled with pain and fear. When it saw the humans, it made a small sound and tried to move away. Afraid of us, Dr. Park said softly. It thinks we're going to hurt it. She moved slowly, making gentle sounds. The creature watched her carefully, but didn't try to run. When she reached out her hand, it sniffed carefully, then allowed her to touch its small head. It's burning up. With fever, she reported. We need to get it medical attention soon, or it will die. Captain Lee Jun activated his communication device. Song Yu, patch me through to the Galactic Council. I need to speak with Ambassador Choi Bin. The response came quickly. Ambassador Choi Bin's voice was stern. Captain, you were ordered to leave any surviving Kelith to die. You're reporting that your mission is complete? We found a child, Ambassador. Dying child who needs medical help. There was a long pause. Captain Lee Jun, the Kelith species has been declared extinct. There are no Kelith children, or only future threats to galactic peace. With respect, Ambassador, I'm looking at a child right now. It's injured and afraid. Captain, you have your orders. Leave that creature to die and return to your patrol route immediately. The communication ended. Captain Lee Jun looked at his team. Dr. Park was still kneeling beside the small Kelith, checking its injuries. Kim Woo stood with his arms crossed, waiting for orders. Yunde was examining the nursery equipment. The medical systems in this room are still working, Yunde reported. Someone designed this place to keep children safe and healthy. Dr. Park looked up at the captain. Its injuries are getting worse. We have maybe 6 hours before it's too late to save it. Captain Kim Woo said, I understand your feelings, but we cannot disobey direct orders from the Galactic Council. If we take this creature, we become enemies of every species in the galaxy. If we leave it to die, we become enemies of ourselves. Dr. Park replied. Captain Lee Jun thought about his crew back on the ship. They trusted him to make the right decisions. He thought about the Galactic Council and their orders. He thought about all the stories of Kelith cruelty, but mostly, he thought about the small, frightened creature lying in the bed before him. Dr. Park, can you safely transport it to our medical bay? Yes, Captain. But are you sure about this? Kim Woo stepped forward. Captain, I must officially protest this decision. Taking this creature puts our entire crew at risk. Your protest is noted, Lee Jun replied. But I will not leave a dying child to suffer, no matter what species it belongs to. He activated his communicator again. Song Yu, prepare the medical bay for an emergency patient. And send word to the crew that we're about to make a choice that will change everything. As Dr. Park carefully lifted the small Kelith, the creature looked up at Captain Lee Jun with its large dark eyes. For a moment, he saw not a future monster, but simply a child who needed help. Welcome aboard, he whispered, knowing that this Single decision would make them outcasts in the galaxy. The journey back to their ship was quiet, but each team member knew that their lives had just changed forever. 3 weeks had passed since they brought the small Keleth aboard their ship. Dr. Park Hannah had worked day and night to save the creature's life. And slowly it was getting better. The fever had broken after the first week, and the injuries were healing faster than she had expected. His recovery rate is amazing, she told Captain Lee June as they watched the small alien through the medical bay window. Keleth biology is designed for quick healing. The creature, which Dr. Park had started calling KO, was sitting up in bed, looking around with curious eyes. It was much more alert now, and its dark fur had begun to shine with health. Has it tried to communicate? The captain asked. Yes, but not in the way we expected. It doesn't try to speak, but it watches everything we do. I think it's learning by observation. Captain Lee June entered the medical bay slowly. Ack! Immediately focused on him, those large, dark eyes tracking his every movement. But there was no fear in them anymore, only interest. Hello, KO, the captain said softly. The small Keleth tilted its head, then made a soft sound that almost sounded like it was trying to copy his words. It's trying to talk, Dr. Park said excitedly. KO, can you say hello? KO opened its mouth and made a sound that was definitely an attempt at speech. Halo, it said, the word coming out strangely, but clearly an attempt at copying them. Over the next few days, KO's progress was remarkable. It learned simple words quickly and began to show personality. Unlike the savage monsters from the stories, KO was gentle and curious about everything. It would watch the crew work with fascination, and it never showed any signs of aggression. But not everyone was happy about KO's progress. Captain, we need to talk, Kim Woo said, entering the bridge with a serious expression. The crew is getting nervous about the Keleth. Ko has done nothing threatening, Captain Lee Jun replied. Just a child learning about the world. A child that will grow up to be a killing machine, Kim Woo argued. Some of the crew are talking about what will happen when it gets bigger and stronger. You looked up from her communication station. Captain, I've been monitoring galactic communications. The news about us keeping a Keleth has spread. Other species are calling us traitors and monsters. What exactly are they saying? The captain asked. That humans are too soft to make hard decisions. That we're putting the entire galaxy at risk by keeping a predator alive. 3 trade agreements have been canceled already. Captain Lee Jun felt the weight of his decision growing heavier. He had known there would be consequences, but seeing his crew suffer for his choice was difficult. There's more, Song Yu continued. The Galactic Council is sending Ambassador Choi Bin to personally inspect our ship. He wants to take KO for what they call scientific study. Everyone knew what that meant. They wanted to kill KO and study its body. When will he arrive? The captain asked. 2 days. That evening, Captain Lee Jun found Dr. Park in the medical bay, playing a simple game with KO. The small Keleth was trying to stack blocks, and every time it succeeded, it would make a happy sound and look to Dr. Park for approval. It's remarkable, she said quietly. KO shows emotional intelligence, problem-solving skills, and a desire for social connection. Nothing like the mindless killers from the stories. Dr. Park, I need to ask you something important. In your professional opinion, is KO dangerous? To watch KO carefully stack another block? Captain, I've studied hundreds of species. KO shows all the signs of a young, intelligent being capable of learning right from wrong. If it were human, I would say it has the potential to become a valuable member of society. But it's not human. No, it's not. But maybe that doesn't matter as much as we thought. The next day brought an unexpected crisis. Engineer Yoon Dae was working in the engine room when a coolant leak developed. Toxic gas was invisible and odorless, but deadly to humans. He should have noticed the warning signs on his instruments, but he was focused on his work. KO was in the nearby corridor with Dr. Park when it suddenly became agitated. It started making urgent sounds and pulling at her clothes, trying to drag her away from the engine room. What's wrong, KO? She asked, confused by the sudden change in behavior. Ko pointed at the engine room door and made distressed sounds. Its sensitive nose had detected the dangerous gas that human instruments had missed. Dr. Park realized what was happening and immediately activated the emergency alert. Gas! Leak in engineering. Everyone out! The crew rushed to evacuate Hyundai. From the engine room, the engineer was already unconscious from the toxic fumes, but he was still alive because Ko had detected the danger early. Ko saved his life, Dr. Park told Captain Lee Jun later. Its senses are much more sensitive than ours. It knew something was wrong before any of our instruments detected it. Word of Ko's heroic actions spread quickly through the ship. The crew, members who had been afraid of the small Keleth, began to see it differently. Hyundai especially was grateful for his life. That little one saved me, he told everyone who would listen. Could have just walked away, but it chose to help. Even Kim Woo seemed to soften his attitude slightly. It did the right thing, he admitted. But that doesn't change what it might become when it grows up. The next day, Ambassador Choi Bin arrived with an escort of 6 armed guards. He was a stern man who had served the Galactic Council for many years, and he believed strongly in following orders. Captain Lee Jun, he said formally, you have violated direct orders from the Galactic Council. You will surrender the Keleth specimen immediately. Ko is not a specimen, Captain Lee Jun replied. It's a child under our protection. Creature is a threat to galactic security. Must be studied and then eliminated. Dr. Park stepped forward. Ambassador, I've studied Ko for weeks. It shows no signs of aggression. It's intelligent, emotional, and capable of heroic actions. Yesterday, it saved the life of one of our crew members. Irrelevant, the ambassador replied coldly. The Keleth species has been judged too dangerous to exist. This conversation is over. As the guards moved forward to take Ko, the small Keleth did something unexpected. Instead of fighting or running, it moved to stand in front of Captain Lee Jun, as if trying to protect him. Kono, Dr. Park said gently. It's okay. It's Ko. Looked up at the captain with those large, trusting eyes and said, clearly, friend. Ko. Protect friend. The words hung in the air like a challenge to everything. The galaxy believed about the Keleth. Here was a creature that was supposed to be a mindless killer, offering to protect the human who had saved its life. Ambassador Choi Ben stared at Ko for a long moment. Clever, he said finally. But trained animals can be taught to mimic emotions. It changes nothing. Ko is not an animal, Captain Lee Jun said firmly, and I will not allow you to take it. Then you are in violation of Galactic Council orders, and your ship will be impounded. As the standoff continued, Ko moved closer to Captain Lee Jun, still trying to protect the human who had shown it kindness. The small gesture said more about the nature of the Keleth than any scientific study ever could. The battle for Ko's life was just beginning. The standoff with Ambassador Choi Bin lasted 3 hours. Captain Lee Jun refused to surrender Ko, and the ambassador refused to leave without the small Keleth. Finally, the ambassador made his choice. You have 1 day to reconsider, he told Captain Lee Jun. After that, the Galactic Council will send a full military fleet to take the creature by force. After the ambassador left, the crew gathered in the main meeting room. Koei sat quietly beside Dr. Park Hana, still confused by all the tension, but sensing that something bad was happening. Captain, we need to make a decision, Kim Woo said. The military fleet will destroy us in minutes. We cannot fight the entire galaxy. We're not going to fight, Captain Lee Jun replied. We're going to run. Song-Yi looked up from her communications panel. Captain, I've been monitoring military channels. They're already mobilizing ships from 6 different species. Admiral Galtheros of the Zentari Empire is leading the fleet personally. Everyone knew about Admiral Galtheros. He was famous for destroying entire pirate fleets without mercy. If he was coming for them, it meant the Council was taking this very seriously. How long do we have? The captain asked. Maybe 12 hours before they arrive, Song-Yu replied. Hyundai stood up. Captain, our ship is fast, but we cannot outrun. Military vessels, forever. They will catch us eventually. Then we need to find somewhere to hide, Captain Lee Jun said. Somewhere they won't think to look. Ko had been listening to the conversation, and now it stood up and walked to the star map display. The small Kelith stared at the map for a long moment, then pointed to a section of space that showed no stars at all. "Ko, what are you showing us?" Dr. Park asked gently. Ko made soft sounds and touched the empty space on the map again. Then it closed its eyes and seemed to be concentrating very hard. "It's trying to remember something," Dr. Park said.
Doctor, what?
"Do you remember?" Images began to appear on the star map display, but they were not coming from the ship's computers. They were coming from Ko itself, somehow connecting with the ship's systems. "How is it doing that?" Yonde asked in amazement. The images showed stars and planets that were not in their navigation computers. It was like Ko was sharing memories of places it had never been. "These are genetic memories," Dr. Park realized. Ko is remembering things its ancestors knew. The new star map showed a hidden system deep in the empty space that Ko had pointed to. There was a planet there, hidden from normal sensors by some kind of natural phenomenon. "Ko, is this a safe place?" Captain Lee Jun asked. Ko nodded and made a sound that seemed to mean yes. Then it touched the captain's hand gently, as if trying to say, "Trust me." Navigation Officer Kang Ho studied the new coordinates. "Captain, this system is not in any of our databases. If Ko is right, it could be the perfect hiding place." "Set course for those coordinates," Captain Lee Jun ordered. "Maximum speed." As their ship jumped to hyperspace, alarms began sounding throughout the galaxy. The hunt for the humans and their Kelith passenger had begun. Admiral Galtheros stood on the bridge of his flagship, studying reports from his fleet. Commanded over 200 ships from 12 different species, all united in their desire to capture the dangerous Kelith. "The human ship has disappeared from all sensors," his second-in-command reported. "They must have jumped to hyperspace. Begin a systematic search of all known human colonies and trading posts," the admiral ordered. "They cannot hide forever." But as the days passed, the human ship seemed to have vanished completely. The admiral's fleet searched dozens of systems, without finding any trace of them. Meanwhile, Captain Lee Jun's crew was learning more about KOA's abilities. The small Kelith could sense danger hours before it arrived, warning them about asteroid fields and solar storms that their instruments missed. "KO senses are incredible," Dr. Park told the captain. "Can detect things we never even knew existed." KO was also growing stronger and more intelligent every day. It learned to operate simple ship systems and began to understand complex conversations. But most importantly, it showed deep care for every member of the crew. "Ko brought me extra food when I was sick," reported Baesu, one of the junior engineers. "It sat with me for hours like it was worried about me. It helped me fix the navigation computer yesterday," added Kang Ho. "Its small hands could reach places I couldn't get to." Even Kim Woo was starting to change his mind about KO. "It's not what I expected," he admitted to Captain Lee Jun. "The stories about Kelith never mentioned that they could be kind." Dr. Park was studying KO's genetic structure when she made a shocking discovery. "Captain, you need to see this. KO's DNA is different from the Kelith records in our databases." "Different how?" he asked. "The Kelith in our records have been genetically modified. Someone changed their DNA to make them more aggressive and violent. But Kali's DNA is original, unmodified." "What does that mean?" "It means KO represents what the Kelith were like before someone turned them into monsters." As they traveled deeper into unknown space, KO began to show them more genetic memories. They saw images of beautiful Kelith cities, of families caring for their young, of a peaceful civilization that explored the galaxy to help other species. They were explorers and protectors, Dr. Park realized. The Kelith were never meant to be predators. Then what happened to them? Captain Lee Jun asked. Toko touched the star map again, and new images appeared. They showed dark ships attacking Kelith worlds, using some kind of weapon that changed the Kelith themselves. "Someone corrupted them," Dr. Park said quietly. "Someone turned a peaceful species into killers."
Oh.
The revelation changed everything. If KO was right, then the Kelith had been victims, not villains. The galaxy had destroyed them for crimes they had committed while under the influence of an unknown enemy. Captain, long-range sensors are detecting ships, Song Yu reported. It's Admiral Galtheros. He's found us. Captain Li Jun looked at Ko, who was staring at the sensor display with worried eyes. How long until they reach us? 6 hours, Song Yu replied. Then we need to reach that hidden system before they catch us, the captain decided. Ko, we're going to need your help. Ko nodded firmly and placed its small hands on the navigation controls. The ship's speed increased as Ko somehow enhanced their engines with abilities no one understood. The race to the hidden system had begun. And with it, the chance to learn the truth about the Kelith and the enemy that had corrupted them. Behind them, Admiral Galtheros smiled grimly as his fleet closed in on their prey. Today we end the Kelith threat forever, he announced to his crew, but none of them knew that they were about to discover an enemy far more dangerous than any Kelith had ever been. The hidden planet appeared on their screens like a jewel floating in the darkness. It was beautiful, with blue oceans and green continents, but there was something strange about it. The planet seemed to shimmer, as if it was not quite real. Entire system is hidden by some kind of energy field, Yunde reported. Our sensors can barely detect it even this close. Ko pressed its hands against the viewing window, making excited sounds. This place felt like home to it, even though it had never been here before. Ko, is this where your people came from? Dr. Park asked. Ko nodded and pointed to the planet's surface. New images appeared on their screens showing massive cities built into the landscape. But these were not the dark, threatening structures they expected from Kelith architecture. These buildings were elegant and beautiful, designed to work with nature instead of dominating it. It's incredible, Captain Li Jun said. How long has this place been hidden? As their ship entered the planet's atmosphere, Ko began to change. Its eyes glowed with a soft light, and it seemed to become more alert and aware. The planet was calling to it in ways that none of the humans could understand. They landed near the largest city, and Ko immediately wanted to explore. The moment it stepped onto the planet's surface, ancient systems began to activate. Lights came on in the empty buildings, and soft music began to play from hidden speakers. The city is responding to Ko's presence, Dr. Park observed. It recognizes. It is a Kelith. As they walked through the streets, Koa led them to a massive building in the center of the city. Inside, they found something that changed everything they thought they knew about the galaxy. The building was a vast library filled with records of Kelith history, but these records told a very different story than the one the galaxy believed. According to these files, the Kelith were guardians. Dr. Park translated as Ko activated the ancient computers. They protected smaller species from cosmic threats. The records showed that the Kelith had been peaceful explorers who used their natural abilities to help other civilizations. They were strong and fast, but they used these gifts to rescue beings in danger, not to hurt them. Then what happened? Captain Li Jun asked. Ko touched another control, and the library filled with holographic images. They showed the arrival of dark ships that came from the void between galaxies. These ships belonged to a species that the records called the Devourers. Devourers consumed entire star systems, Dr. Park read. They ate planets, stars, and everything living in their path. The Kelith were the only species strong enough to fight them. The images showed epic battles between Kelith ships and the dark vessels of the Devourers. For a time, the Kelith were winning. They pushed the Devourers back toward the edge of the galaxy. But then something terrible happened. The Devourers created a biological weapon, Dr. Park continued reading. A virus that infected the Kelith and changed their brain chemistry. It made them violent and aggressive, turning them from protectors into predators. Ko made sad sounds as it watched. The holographic images of its people being transformed. The virus spread quickly through the Kelith population, turning them into the monsters that the galaxy feared. The infected Kelith attacked the very species they had once protected, Dr. Park said quietly. They forgot their true nature and became what the Devourers wanted them to be. But why? Captain Li Jun asked. Why would the Devourers do this? The answer came from Ko itself, as new images appeared. The Devourers had not given up their plan to consume the galaxy. They had simply been waiting for the right moment to return. The Devourers are coming back, Dr. Park realized. They infected the Kelith to remove the only species that could stop them. The library's computers began showing current star charts, and the humans were horrified by what they saw. Dark shapes were moving at the edges of the galaxy, slowly working their way toward the populated systems. "How long do we have?" Captain Lee Jun asked. Ko touched the controls again, and numbers appeared on the screen. Dr. Park translated them. "With growing alarm, Devourers will reach the outer colonies in 3 months," she said. "And they're much stronger than they were before." "What about Ko?" Yunde asked. "Is it immune to the virus?" Dr. Park ran her scanner over Ko and compared the readings to the library's records. Ko was born after the virus had run its course. Its genetic structure is pure, unmodified Kelith, cannot be infected. But one small Kelith cannot stop an entire invasion, Kim Woo pointed out. Ko made urgent sounds and ran to another part of the library. It activated systems that had been dormant for centuries, revealing the true purpose of this hidden planet. "This isn't just a library," Dr. Park realized. "It's a weapons facility. The Kelith built defenses here to fight the Devourers. The ancient weapons were unlike anything the humans had ever seen. Were designed specifically to destroy the Devourers and their ships, but the weapons needed a pure Kelith to operate them. Ko is the key," Captain Lee Jun understood. "It's the only one who can activate these defenses. But they were running out of time. Song Yu's communication equipment was picking up signals from Admiral Galtheros' fleet. "They've found the hidden system," she reported. "They'll be here in 2 hours. "And there's something else," she added with growing concern, detecting other ships behind the Admiral's fleet. Ships that don't match any known designs. Ko's eyes widened with fear as it recognized the descriptions. The Devourers had arrived early, following the Council fleet to the hidden planet. "They've been watching us," Dr. Park realized. "The Devourers knew that Ko would eventually lead us here. The trap was closing around them. Admiral Galtheros was coming to destroy Ko, not knowing that he was leading the galaxy's greatest enemy straight to the only weapon that could stop them." "Captain, what do we do?" Kim Woo asked. Captain Lee Jun looked at Ko, who was staring at the ancient weapons with a mixture of fear and determination. The small Kelith understood what was being asked of it. "Ko, can you operate these weapons?" he asked gently. Ko nodded, but its expression was sad. Operating the weapons would require it to sacrifice its own life force to power them. "To be another way?" Dr. Park said desperately. But Ko touched her hand gently and made soft sounds that seemed to say it's okay. The small Kelith had always known that it would have to make this choice someday. "The Admiral's fleet is entering the system," Song Yu reported, "and the unknown ships are right behind them." Captain Lee Jun activated his communicator. "Admiral Galtheros, this is Captain Lee Jun. Do not attack this planet. You are leading a far greater enemy to the only weapon that can save us all." Was a long pause before the Admiral responded. "Captain, surrender the Kelith immediately, or face the consequences." "Admiral, look at your sensors. Those ships behind you are not part of your fleet. They belong to the species that corrupted the Kelith in the first place." As if to prove his point, the dark ships of the Devourers suddenly opened fire on the Council fleet. The battle for the galaxy's survival had begun. Ko ran to the weapons control, ready to make the ultimate sacrifice to save the species that had once condemned its people. The final confrontation was about to begin. The space above the hidden planet erupted into chaos as the Devourers attacked Admiral Galtheros' fleet. The dark ships were massive, each one the size of a small moon, and they moved with terrifying speed. "My gods," Admiral Galtheros whispered, as he watched his most powerful warships being destroyed in seconds. "What are those things?" Captain Lee Jun's voice crackled over the communication channel. "Those are the Devourers, Admiral. They're the real enemy. The Kelith were just there. Victims." On the planet's surface, Ko was working frantically to activate the ancient weapons. The small Kaloth's hands moved over controls that had not been used for centuries, but its genetic memories guided it perfectly. Ko, are you sure about this? Dr. Park asked, tears in her eyes. There must be another way. Ko looked up at her. With those large, gentle eyes and made soft sounds, Dr. Park understood. Ko was saying that sometimes protecting the ones you love means making the hardest choice of all. The weapons began to power up, drawing energy from Ko's life force. The small Kelith grew weaker as the ancient systems came online, but it did not stop above them. The battle was going badly for the Council fleet. The Devourer's weapons cut through their shields like paper, and their ships seemed to absorb the energy from every attack. Admiral, you need to retreat, Captain Li Jun urged. Let us activate the planet's defenses. I will not run from any enemy, Admiral Galtheros replied stubbornly.
Hey.
All ships, focus fire on the largest vessel. But the combined attack of 200 ships barely scratched the Devourer's ship. In response, the dark vessel released a wave of energy that disabled half the Council fleet. They're not just destroying our ships, his second encampment reported. They're consuming them. The disabled vessels are being absorbed into the Devourer. Ships, Admiral Galtheros, finally understood the magnitude of the threat they faced. These were not ordinary enemies. They were forces of pure consumption, designed to devour entire galaxies. Captain Li Jun, he said over the communication channel, what do you need from us? Protect this planet for 10 more minutes, Captain. Li Jun replied. Ko is almost ready to activate the weapons. 10 minutes, the Admiral repeated. All ships form a defensive perimeter around the planet. We hold the line here. The Council fleet, what remained of it, moved to defend the planet. Ships from 12 different species fought side by side, finally united against a common enemy. But the Devourers were too strong. One by one, the Council ships were being destroyed or consumed. Admiral Galtheros watched as his flagship's shields began to fail. Captain, we cannot hold them much longer, he reported, in the weapons facility. Koa was growing very weak. Its fur had lost its shine, and its breathing was shallow. But the ancient weapons were almost ready. Ko, please, Dr. Park begged. Let me help you. Ko touched her hand gently, then placed its other hand on Captain Li Jun's arm. It was saying goodbye to the humans who had shown it kindness when the rest of the galaxy wanted it dead. Ko, we're proud of you, Captain Li Jun said softly. You're the bravest person I've ever known. Ko smiled, an expression that looked strange on its alien features, but was unmistakably happy. Then it pressed its hands against the final control. Planet's weapons activated with a sound like thunder. Beams of pure energy shot up from the surface, striking the Devourer ships with devastating force. For the first time in the battle, the dark vessels actually took damage. It's working, Songyu reported from their ship. The weapons are hurting them. But the effort was draining Ko's life. Small Kelith was growing weaker with each beam that fired. Ko, that's enough, Dr. Park said desperately. You've done enough. But Ko shook its head weakly. The weapons were damaging the Devourers, but not destroying them. It needed to give more. Ko closed its eyes and poured all of its remaining life. Force into the ancient weapons. The beams of energy grew brighter and more powerful, striking the Devourer ships with incredible force. The largest Devourer ship began to break apart, its dark hull cracking and dissolving. The other ships tried to retreat, but the weapons followed them, guided by Ko's will. They're running, Admiral Galtheros reported with amazement. The Devourers are actually retreating. But the victory came at a terrible cost. Ko collapsed. Beside the weapon's control, its small body barely breathing. Ko, Dr. Park cried, kneeling beside the small Kelith. Stay with us. Ko opened its eyes one last time and looked at Captain Li Jun. It made a soft sound that seemed to say thank you for believing in me. Then Ko's eyes closed forever. The weapons continued to fire automatically, sending pulses of energy across the galaxy, wherever the Devourers had hidden. The weapons found them and drove them back into the void between galaxies. It's over, Captain Li Jun said quietly. Ko saved us all. Admiral Galtheros transported down to the planet's surface. Bringing several other council representatives with him, they found the humans sitting beside Ko's still form, mourning the loss of their small friend. I was wrong, the Admiral said simply. We were all wrong about the Kelith. Dr. Park looked up at him with tears in her eyes. The Co died protecting the species that condemned its people. It never showed hatred or anger, even when everyone wanted it dead. What do we do now? Asked Ambassador Choibin, who had arrived with the Admiral's fleet. Captain Li Jun stood up slowly. We learn from KO's example. We choose compassion over fear, understanding over prejudice. The Admiral nodded. The Galactic Council will need to hear the truth about the Kelith. They were not our enemies. They were our protectors. And the Devourers? Kim Woo asked. The weapons KO activated are still working, Yunde reported. They're sending energy. Pulses to the edges of the galaxy, keeping the Devourers away. But we'll need to maintain this planet and its defenses. The humans will do it, Admiral Galtheros said. You showed wisdom when the rest of us showed fear. The galaxy owes you a debt. Dr. Park was still kneeling beside KO's body. We should build a memorial here. Ko should be remembered as the hero. It was agreed, the Admiral said, and humanity will be given a permanent seat on the Galactic Council. Your species has shown that sometimes the greatest strength comes from protecting those who cannot protect themselves. 6 months later, the KO Memorial stood in the center of the ancient city. Beings from across the galaxy came to pay their respects to the small Kelith who had saved them all. Dr. Park Hannah had been appointed as the head of the new Kelith Research Institute, where she worked to find other survivors of the ancient corruption. She believed that somewhere in the galaxy there might be other Kelith like Ko, waiting to be discovered. Captain Li Jun had been promoted to Admiral and given command of the Planetary Defense Fleet. He often stood at KO's memorial, remembering the small alien who had taught him that courage comes in many forms, and in the deep archives of the ancient library. Automated systems continued to search for signs of other pure Kelith. KO's sacrifice had saved the galaxy, but its legacy would live on in the hope that its people might one day be restored to their true nature. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Sometimes the greatest enemies are born from the greatest injustices, and sometimes the smallest acts of kindness can change the fate of worlds. KO has been abandoned by every species in the galaxy except one. The humans had stayed behind when others fled, and in doing so, they had discovered that love and compassion could triumph over even the darkest fears. The stars shone brightly over KO's memorial, a reminder that even in the vastness of space, every life has meaning and every choice matters.